So, Alex, I'm wondering if you could take us through, your career with the Arctic Monkey so far, and as a solo artist, and just generally your music career so far. Well, like the whole of it, like from start. Yeah, from the start. Right, let me just have a sip of beer first. 1 second. Wet the whistle, so to speak. So we started when we were kids, there was me and Matthew John Helders the third. Me and Matt, who started at school. We used to like a lot of hip hop and bands like Queens of the Stone Age and things like that. And we just get together and jam, and it were great. And then after a few years of just playing covers and writing the odd tune in each other's bedrooms, we started to take it a bit more seriously, and I suppose when we got to the point where there was myself, Matt, Jamie, and the one and only Andy Nicholson on bass guitar back in the day in Sheffield. I suppose there was a point where we went from playing covers to just primarily writing our own tunes, and we just kept going with that until we just wanted to be in a band. So I was working at a bar, the Grapes it were called, and we would play away as much as we could and play around Sheffield and around up north and up and down country, and and then when we were about 19, it all kind of hit off for us in 2005 with we released a few EPs, and then that first album, the one with the long title, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. And it was a collection of tunes from about going out on Friday night, Saturday night, whatever, on a piss up. And then of course it took off and we became what we'd always been to ourselves, the Arctic Monkeys as the world knew us. And then, we were a bit mad, and then Andy didn't want out to do with it anymore. He didn't want the fame, so our good friend Nicholas O'Malley stepped in on the bass, and he's very proficient at it. And then we released his second record, Favourite Worst Nightmare, in I think it was in 2006, 2007, and we headlined Glastonbury that year. And I suppose that were a bit nuts, And then Dizzy got up on stage with us, Dizzy Rascal. He was terrific, he was great. And then that record, the first record, it were primarily just playing around with. Sorry, the first record, it were just pretty much clean and distorted two guitars, real DIY punk ethic kind of going room, bang out some tunes. And then with the second record, it were a bit more I think we played around a bit more with, you know, guitar pedals and whatnot, reverb and effects and stuff like that. And then Miles joined us on, 505, famously. And then me and him ended up, starting that little collaboration, little side project. Last Shadow Puppets, or as you guys down south say, the Last Shadow Puppets. And, we started experimenting a little bit more with like like strings and stuff and different, arrangements, and that definitely, added a string to my bow as a songwriter, And then, of course, what happened. Tell us what happened, Conor. Well, you guys grew your hair long, didn't you? You cunts. That's right, yeah. We went all rock and roll on yous. And then, we were fortunate enough to, meet with Mr. Joshua Homme, or Home, as some people call him. And then, that were exciting, very, very exciting time for us, He took us to the desert, and, he brought a lot to the table. He brought, LSD, cocaine, MDMA, marijuana, alcohol, and of course his own musical, artistic mind. And we were aware, like the four of us, with Josh, as if we were on a little holiday or a vacation, as they say in the States, on an experiment, and it felt to us the way in which we kind of wanted to play around with older kind of tunes, older kind of music, sort of gravitated back to the 60s and got out the old albums, revisited the albums that we were fans of when we were kids, but hadn't yet graduated into, the role as a musician, a rock star, just yet. We were able to revisit them with fresh eyes and new capabilities and proficiencies on those instruments, And we made a psychedelic album, which not a lot of people were expecting, but it were invaluable in our transitionary period into next couple of records. And then, of course, after that, Matthew got up, stepped up and sung Brick by Brick and did a cracking job of it, on Suck It and See. And that again kind of propelled us back to forward into, a whole other place, kind of, almost like 50s-esque, guitar stuff going on, And tuned like pop music from the 50s, America, Americana kind of feel. And it's reflected in the way we're dressed and music videos and stuff, you know. And then we really became the Arctic Monkeys, world-renowned motherfucking pop rock star sensations who played at the fucking Olympics and went on the biggest world tours we could. And then we sort of like borrowed from the architecture of contemporary R&B for our fifth album, you know. And like, yeah, we kind of like really felt that we were the dog's bollocks. We kind of like always felt we were the dog's bollocks, but then we really felt we were great. And, you know, planet Earth seemed to respond very well to that, to us getting up there and belting out them tunes. So like, that were great. And then there was my infamous speech where I got up on stage at like Brit Awards in 2013. Or was it 2014? I can't remember. But anyway, got up on stage. It went a little something like this. Let me just get a beer to get into character. That rock and roll, eh? That rock and roll, it just won't go away. It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands that it adheres to some of its rules. That rock and roll, you know, like, it seems as though it's faded away sometimes, but it will never die, and there's nothing you can do about it. I totally fucked that up, but it goes a little something like that, and it said something along the lines of like, let me try it again. Let me try it again for you. That rock and roll, eh? That rock and roll, it just won't go away. It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands that it adheres to some of its rules. But it's always waiting there, ready, just around the corner, to make its way up through the sludge and smash through the glass ceiling, looking better than ever. Yeah, that rock and roll, it might seem as though it's faded away sometimes, but it will never die. And there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you very fucking much for this. I do. I truly appreciate it. I'm not on cocaine, I swear. That's not my jaw going in. It's just me being a fucking bad motherfucker that I am, Mr. Alex Turner, a rock god of the universe. Yeah, anyway, thank you very fucking much for this. I do truly appreciate it. Don't take it the wrong way. And yeah, invoice me for the microphone if you need to. Only it didn't make that little sound at the end because like they turned it off before it had hit floor. They were very, very quick. Didn't get quite the little rock and roll ending I wanted right there for the, you know, the bang and the feedback and all that and whatnot. But it was a blinder of a speech, and it will forever remain in the heart and souls and minds and spirit of the British people, I feel, and like around country and around world. Nice, Alex. Do you have anything else to say? No, I think that's about it. That rock and roll, just won't go away. I've been Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys, from High Green, Sheffield, motherfucker. Next time on the Conor Canney podcast, Conor Canney will be reading an album review we wrote 2 years ago at for a mate for his first album, you know, the one with the long title and whatnot. Anyway, laters, kids. Bye bye. Peace and love. So, Alex, I'm wondering if you could take us through, your career with the Arctic Monkeys so far, and as a solo artist, and just generally your music career so far. Well, like the whole of it, like from start. Yeah, from the start. Right, let me just have a sip of beer first. 1 second. Wet the whistle, so to speak. So, we started, when we were kids, there was me and Matthew John Helders the third. Me and Matt, who started at school. We used to like a lot of hip-hop and bands like Queens of the Stone Age and, things like that. And, we just get together and jam and, it was great. And then, after a few years of just, playing covers and writing the odd tune in each other's bedroom,